Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wellness Wednesday. My name is Dr. Jane. I am a pre- and postnatal chiropractor here in Orange County, California. And I am super stoked. I'm going to be spending some time chatting with you all about how to use essential oils in the postpartum part of pregnancy, birth, and the end, right? So I'm super stoked you're here. I just want to share a little bit about myself. I've been practicing for about 5 years, and I didn't incorporate essential oils into my practice until about 3 years ago. And it was actually after I had my second child. And I'm so bummed because I didn't get to use these beautiful oils during my pregnancy or postpartum. So I hope you guys learned something here that you can either share to someone who is going through that experience or for yourself, because I think my pregnancy, birth, postpartum could have been even more magical than it already was if I had these beautiful bottles of oil with me and if I had someone had shared. Anyway, okay, so before we get started, I want you guys to know, first and foremost, whether you are just getting started with essential oils or you've been using them for a little bit longer like me, I want you to know that I don't know everything. Like, hear that loud and clear. There is no way my brain can contain all this information. So I'm reading off of a sheet, first and foremost. I will have this available for anybody that wants this information. I'm happy to share it with all of you. But I wanted to highlight my resources that I use because, like I said, I can't keep everything in my brain. One of my all-time favorites is this book here. It's Essential Oils for Pregnancy, Birth, and Babies by Stephanie Fritz. She's a certified nurse midwife and licensed midwife, and she's got a plethora of information all from preconception to pregnancy, birth, postpartum, babies, and beyond. So this is a great resource to have on hand. And then my own personal favorite is the Essential Life book. I recently got the app on my phone. It's just so beautiful. It's updated, so you get all the new oils in there. So I love having that on hand in case I'm interacting with people and they have questions. I can just pull it up on my phone. And then my third resource, and I think a lot of us have this, is our own personal experience. So I want you to know that most likely you have the information you need. It's just a matter of kind of the figuring out what works best for you. Okay, so know that there's lots of resources out there. And I would say a gift of mine is I like to make things simple, because when I get people started with essential oils, the first thing anybody, like educated, not educated, whatever, everybody says, there's just so much to know and they get really overwhelmed. So I try to break it down into little bite-sized pieces so that it's applicable for them and realistic, so that they will actually use the oils and get the results that we want them to get. So just to start off again with some guidelines about how to use the oils we're going to go over to support you during postpartum. Number one is, what kind of effect are you trying to get? Are we trying to get more of a systemic effect? A systemic effect would be meaning our entire body. For example, if someone has like systemic pain, meaning they have pain all over, that they would want to use essential oils in a way that would affect their body entirely, right? So if you're going to be doing that, you want to either be taking them internally, or you're going to be applying them straight to the skin, not diluted, and that allows them to be absorbed straight into the bloodstream. Otherwise, if we're trying to be a lot more specific, which, for example, if we're going to be working with like after pains, back pain, a very specific area, then we're going to want to dilute and use them topically specific to that area. And by diluting it, it keeps it contained in that specific area. So just so you know, that's kind of like when we go over things, you're like, should I take it internally? Should I diffuse it, dilute it, not dilute it? That just gives you, again, kind of a baseline of how you're going to move with these oils, right? Cool. Hey, everyone, you guys are on. So I'm so happy you're here. Okay, so again, I broke this down, this postpartum time, which if any of you have gone through postpartum, it can be pretty crazy. And let's be real, no one really talks about like what really happens during our postpartum experience. And a lot of women feel blindsided. So the more us women or even men that go through the postpartum experience with their partners can share with others, I think will help lighten the burden, because a lot of people feel shame and guilt about what they're experiencing. So I really want to shed light on that so people don't feel so alone or guilty or ashamed of what is actually a natural process their body is supposed to go through, right? So my postpartum, my first one, I don't know about any of you ladies out there, but I was like a ravenous monkey and I just could not stop eating. I think I lived on cheese sticks at all times of the day and night because I just couldn't satiate myself enough. So the first part that I want to really cover is all about cellular nutrition and how important that is, not only for your body to heal, but also for baby, because you're supporting them nutritionally. So my all-time favorite product, Lifelong Vitality. Can I get a what in the comments? Lifelong Vitality is key. Not only is it something I recommend during pregnancy, but to continue, because as your body goes through this trauma and has to repair tissue and heal, it needs that cellular foundation so that it continue to do that process, as well as bring that to baby, right? Through breast milk if you're breastfeeding. So Lifelong Vitality is key. I also love to throw on the probiotics and digestive enzymes. You guys, the Terrazyme have changed my world. If you guys aren't so much into science, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but every single process that happens in our body, we need an enzyme for. So if we don't have those enzymes, if our body isn't able to create enough of them, we're going to have to bring ones from the outside, which is Terrazyme, and it's super, super supportive, especially as we're healing. So digestive enzymes are something that I recommend big time for our postpartum period. Okay, so that's our cellular nutrition. If you guys are more interested in what to eat, there's a great book I have. It's called The First 40 Days, and it breaks down what kind of foods. They talk a lot about like warm, like different spices you can add to your meals, and that would be great. You can incorporate some of your spice oils into the cooking of that. But The First 40 Days is a great book for more on the nutrition of what to eat postpartum. So after our cellular nutrition, then pain management. Yep, there is some pain that goes with delivering a child, whether it's vaginal or cesarean. One of the things that I hear from a lot of moms that they weren't aware of are these things called after pains. After pains are literally our uterus is contracting. So it took 9-10 months for our uterus to expand and grow, babe, and get beautiful. And then it's like, what, overnight it's just going to go back to this tiny little thing? No way. It takes time. Our body needs time to heal, but it can be painful. So something to help aid and support that after pain experience you might feel is lavender or white fir. And what's really nice about those two oils is that they're very gentle. So say you apply them to your abdomen and you dilute them so that they stay in that area. And say that the oil gets on baby, they're really gentle, and so it's okay for it to be on the baby topically. So those are great to rub on the abdomen. For after pains, back pain, this is something I would say I see a lot in my office, is just the nursing posture or holding baby or the bags, all these things, and we can experience a lot of tension in our back. I am all about the deep blue rub. It's hands down, as long as you don't put the whole rub all over and turn into a blue man. The deep blue rub is amazing. Now, one of the things that I do want to caution you mamas about is deep blue does have some peppermint in it. And peppermint is one of those oils that some of us may be sensitive to, right? So if you are one of those moms that you drink peppermint tea during postpartum and you notice a lowered supply, be aware of that, because then you won't want to use products with peppermint in them. You won't want to use it topically. You won't want to even diffuse it or internally, because it may lower your supply. For me, I felt I was lucky enough. I did have oils when I was still breastfeeding my daughter, and I would actually ingest the beadlets and didn't notice any difference in my supply. So I was comfortable personally using that on myself. Whenever I have patients come back in after their birth, I always tell them, hey, we're going to try this. You let me know how your supply is. And if they are having a supply issue, I won't use it at all, because I don't want to mess with their supply getting even lower, right? So that's something really key to know about with postpartum. I also love mixing copaiba and marjoram. Those two mixed together, even a drop with your deep blue rub, works wonders. And then the last pain that we might put in that section is digestive pains. So I don't know, any of you mamas, the poop after birth, scary, right? So it could be the poop after birth. It could be the gas pains. I know that can be more similar or common for moms with cesarean births, but any of those digestive issues, I'm all about the digest zen, putting a drop in water, ingesting that to help our digestive system move through. And you can even apply it topically on the abdomen, which is amazing if you're feeling any of that gas pain, like in the shoulder, in the chest, even lower in the stomach, wherever you're feeling it, you can dilute it and apply it specifically to that area for those digestive pains. All right, we're gonna move into tissue healing, because if any of you have experienced birth vaginally or cesarean, there is gonna be some trauma to the tissue. It's a given, right? So the first two, hemorrhoids and tears, those can occur not just giving birth, right? If we have any strain with excreting even, we can have those. So tissue healing, you can make these really cool tuck pads or tux pads. I don't know if you've seen them, but you can make homemade ones. And what I love about them is you can even put them in the fridge so you can keep them cool. And you can get nice organic cotton rounds. And you're gonna mix witch hazel and aloe vera juice. And you're gonna mix that with lavender, frankincense, and melaleuca for cleansing. So lavender and frankincense are going to be money for any tissue healing. We know frankincense is so good for our cells that we want to keep that going for any hemorrhoids or tears. So you can mix all that together. You can put them in a bunch of cotton rounds, so they're like tuck pads, or you can take that mixture and get regular pads, put that on the pads, and put the pads in the freezer. So if you do have any tearing and any sutures that you're dealing with, having those frozen and having that coolness to help with the inflammation will change someone's world. So please have those on hand prior to birth so you have them just in case. So then with more tissue healing around our cesarean, so I want to make sure any moms who have had a cesarean realize you can do this whether you had your baby 4 months ago, 4 years ago, 40 years ago. If you still have a cesarean scar, this is a blend that you can use on it today. And I really want to urge you to start getting familiar with your cesarean scar, because I think it can be really scary for a lot of people to venture there or acknowledge it or whatever, but it's a piece of your story. And so I just urge you to build that connection with your scar. And I love making this blend for mamas who have had a cesarean. It's a beautiful mix of yarrow palm, copaiba, frankincense, myrrh, helichrysum, and sandalwood. So all really yummy, beautiful healing oils. And I mix it with coconut oil. You can either do a spray if it's a newer incision. I like using the spray so you don't have to rub on it. Or if it's an older scar, you can do it in a roller bottle, and you can just apply it there and just do nice, slow circles around your scar tissue to get, like I said, get familiar and say hello and realize that it's an area that your baby literally was born into this world and how cool it is, and just explore that. So that's for the cesarean scar. And then if anybody else like me, my body expanded quite a bit and I had some stretch. I still have stretch marks. But we have this, you guys, yummy new yarrow palm body serum. We have the Fountain of Youth elixir. We can apply everywhere now, or, chin down. But that is one I would definitely use on my scars or my stretch marks. You can also mix it with immortelle and frankincense just to have a little added yumminess to your stretch marks. Cool. You guys are doing so good. All right, we've got 2 more sections I want to go over. This one is a little bit more detail around breastfeeding. So if you guys aren't planning to breastfeed, there will be a couple that apply to you because it could be something with babe, but just keep that in mind. So with breastfeeding, something that a lot of moms don't realize that can happen is a clogged duct or mastitis. So basically mastitis, anything with an is at the end, is inflammation. And it's almost like your body is going to put you into a cold or flu symptoms, right? And so the key here is to make sure that you are making the clogged duct unclogged. That's with frequent breastfeeding, frequent pumping, massage. You're going to want to massage towards your nipple. And I love adding diluted melaleuca to it because that's going to have the antiviral and antibacterial property to it. You can also, if you're experiencing the cold-like symptoms, there is the flu balm, which you can take internally, which I love helps support our immune system. So that's with mastitis. And then we were talking before about peppermint, right? This idea of low supply. I have a lot of moms with oversupply. And so we can actually use these oils to help support us in that way too. So low supply, you're going to want to focus on using fennel and basil internally. You can use about 2 to 3 drops in a capsule and take that internally. And then supplement-wise, omega-3s are going to be huge for breast milk. And you guys, I can't say enough about doTERRA's omega-3s, not just because they have the essential oils in them, but the products that they use to get the omega-3s from the fish are just phenomenal. Personally, I actually take double the amount on the bottle because all of us are so deficient in omega-3s, and it's made a whirlwind of difference in my own personal feeling. So omega-3s and also zinc, and you can find zinc in our Lifelong Vitality, and that's why it's so key to make sure we stay on track with our regular supplements throughout our postpartum. If you get any mom brain or post-pregnancy brain, whatever you want to call it, make a timer. That's what I love. I have lots of timers on my phone. Make sure you have a timer for taking your regular supplements because these are going to prevent you from getting any of these really detrimental health challenges, right? So some moms do experience oversupply as well. So if you do have oversupply, peppermint can be an awesome way to help not lower your supply, but make it so it's not as big of an amount as baby is latching on. Peppermint, the easiest way I would say is to do a drop in water and to create a tea out of it. It's also really great whenever you're trying to end your breastfeeding relationship. And since oils came into my life when I was doing that, I had a magical experience ending my breastfeeding relationship with my daughter. And for her, she wasn't ready, but I was. And so I told her that on this day, it was going to be her last day, and she was going to help me. And we made a roller bottle of peppermint oil together, and she helped rub that on my breasts. And so by that stopping the milk supply, it also allowed her to be a part of this process of letting go and not having that connection, and her really loving on me. It was a really sweet experience. So if any of you come up with that, that's a good way to maybe go about it. So cracked nipples is a big thing at the very beginning. Myrrh is super, super hydrating and yummy. So you can apply myrrh, geranium, and sandalwood to your cracked nipples. I would do it after your feedings so that you're not putting those oils directly into baby's mouth after. So feed baby, apply your oils, and then you'll have that 2 to 3 hours for them to be soaking in. A big one here, and I've had a couple moms experience thrush or candida. Oof, it is not a pleasant experience. You'll notice white in your mouth or the baby's mouth as well as around the nipple, and that is a fungal infection. So to support that, you can use oregano, lemongrass, melaleuca. You can make a candida balm and have that taken internally for mom. I would not suggest putting it in the baby's mouth. Focus on mom with oil support. And then the last one, this is really key. This is going to move us into our last section, but with breastfeeding, it can be a very energetically tense situation where you don't know what you're doing. The baby doesn't know what you're doing. You get frustrated. You're like, well, I'm over it. So one of the beautiful things about these bottles of oil is we are literally bringing nature into our home. And I can't stress the importance of that in postpartum, because a lot of moms can't necessarily get outside to do, go for a walk, smell the flowers, see the sun and the clouds. And so for them to have a diffuser next to them and to be able to diffuse oils that are literally plant matter, it is going to be so supportive. And one of my favorite blends to help with relaxation is our balance or grounding blend. And you can diffuse that before you get all set up for breastfeeding so that you are ready to rock and roll. And when you're getting frustrated, you can just turn take a deep inhale and go back at it, because it's not the easiest thing to get to. Cool. So that's for breastfeeding, and that is going to take us to, last but not least, our hormones. Most of us shall know that hormones are going to shift big time when baby leaves, right? So I think I saw in this group someone was mentioning placenta pills. I'm all about that. You can actually ingest your placenta via smoothie, tinctures, pills. It's a great way to support your hormones, but doTERRA has a gorgeous blend called Claricalm that is supportive to our hormones. And one of the bigger challenges with our hormones that we may notice postpartum is night sweats. So you might wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in a puddle of sweat. This is gross. Is it mine? Is it the baby's? Is it milk? I don't know. But using Claricalm in the morning and at night, I love to apply it to my wrists, over my abdomen, on my neck, is a great way to help support our hormones as they're going through such a big fluctuation. So Claricalm is the jam. And then I wanted to touch a little bit about anxiety. Postpartum anxiety is big. And I just wanted to make a little note here that, a lot of times in our society, we have this idea of I'm fine when I'm over here, and over here I'm in crisis and I need help. But there's this whole gray area of depletion that more likely than not will occur during postpartum, because it can be a stressful experience. So I just want to make note that just because you may not have a certain diagnosis or be in crisis with a certain situation, you know your body best. And when you know it's time to reach out, please do so. So with anxiety in particular, I love all tree blends, tree oils. Tree oils are very grounding, very centering, and they're going to help bring us to the present moment. So we have a really yummy new oil that came out at convention called Black Spruce. It's great during pregnancy, but even postpartum. So that is one I definitely recommend for your tool bag. You can diffuse it and you literally feel like you're in a green forest, and you might see a fairy pop out or something. It's really magical. So again, Balance is one of my favorite blends. Frankincense, anyone that you really resonate with, is a great one to diffuse for anxiety. And then for depression, generally I steer towards citrus oils because they're more uplifting. Some of my favorite is Elevation, any citrus oils, uplifting blends, even wild orange, you guys. There's something about just inhaling it like you just opened a fresh orange, and it's not just invigorating, but is so helpful to our brain, which is going through a whole plethora of things during postpartum, which is a whole nother talk. So that is how you're going to support your hormones. So I just went over my whole big, beautiful sheet. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I'm happy to go back through, answer your questions. If you want this guy, I'm happy to send it to you as well. And that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for being here with me and hearing me chit-chatter all about postpartum and essential oils. And all I have to say is, if you know anyone going through the postpartum time, even a text or a foot rub with oils, I'm definitely sure they will be gladly to accept it. So go out, go do some good in the world. Thank you for being here, and much love to you all.